He's Brett Okamoto. I'm Megan Olivi. We're here in the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. They're already cleaning everything up. UFC 271 is just wrapped up, and Brett, I'm so curious to hear your scorecard for the main event because they're all over the place.
Controversial ones.
I really do. It's my favorite thing.
I had Israel winning 48-47. I thought it was a very close fight. Megan, I feel like we're going to have this conversation every time because these title fights in the UFC are very close.
Yes.
Man. They're very, very well. I will say many of Israel's fights have not been close, but we expected this one to be close because of the adjustments that Robert Whittaker was going to make. He made them. He fought a completely different game plan. He executed extremely well. And I have both of these guys in the top 10 pound for pound. It does not matter of weight class. When you have two guys like that who are smart, who are just well-conditioned, well-prepared, you're going to have a close fight. If you score the fight for Robert, I don't think you're completely off, but I had it for Izzy.
You know, after that first round, Robert could have really just decided that that was his fate, and he didn't.
Yeah.
I would say the fifth round was probably his best round in the fight, but he continued to try and fight on, even though his legs were getting chopped at. You could tell he was disheartened by that. You know, I spoke with him backstage, and he told me, yeah, I was shocked that I got kicked in the leg, and it hurt.
Yeah.
And then he started laughing because he's like, well, that's a silly thing to say, but it was true. In terms of, you know, the challenges he brought to Israel Adesanya, the takedowns, and, you know, he was jabbing him a little bit. I mean, what did you think was his biggest weapon in there?
His mind. I thought that I was ready for this rematch well before many others were, because yes, I know that the first fight ended in decisive fashion, but I believed Robert when he said that he was tense before that fight. I believed him that he said he had fallen out of love with the sport. I believed that he was dealing with some things outside of the cage. And I also thought that the reason why I always gave Robert Whittaker a chance to be more successful in the rematch is because he's a very smart guy. I think Izzy is vastly underrated when it comes to his mind, and it comes to his approach to the game and the adjustments that he can make on the fly. Robert can match those, you know, and we saw that. The adjustments were great. I mean, he was not hanging in the pocket like he did the first fight. His entries were much more intelligent. He wasn't just throwing just for the sake of volume. He was picking his spots. He was more efficient with his striking. When he went for takedowns, he wasn't just putting his head down and running through on takedowns. Those were well-timed, well-thought-out takedowns. So that's what I just love his approach and his fight IQ. Fight IQ is an underrated part of when we're breaking these fights down, and I think both those guys are two of the best at it.
100%. You mentioned, you know, the strides Robert Whittaker has taken, but Israel Adesanya really impressed me out there tonight. Certainly, we know he has good takedown defense, but when he even got taken down, and he was back up within seconds. I mean, it didn't even bother him. You know, every time Robert would try to get on his back, it proved to be no challenge for Israel. He just continues to grow with his striking, with his grappling, with mixing it all up. When you look at the future for him, is Jared Cannonier a challenge?
Yeah, I think Jared Cannonier is a challenge because he's got that danger factor. He's just such a violent guy at times, right? I mean, you look at some of the highlights on this guy's reel, and it's like, I mean, we see knockouts every weekend, but Jared's just burned themselves into your mind because of just how powerful they are. And I think, you know, you have to respect that. I think that he does represent, you know, those guys from MMA Lab. They come with great strategies. You know, they come with good ground game. And if you're watching that fight tonight, you're impressed with what Izzy did, but you're like, hey, man, there were a lot of people out there that thought he lost tonight. So I think if you're Jared Cannonier, you're feeling good. You're feeling good about your chances in that one. But, he's going to have to fight it's going to take a perfect fight and a perfect execution to beat him.
Absolutely. Talking about a perfect fight and a perfect execution, it wasn't a perfect fight for Tai Tuivasa, but he certainly had the biggest victory of his career to date against Derrick Lewis. After the first round, I mean, what were your thoughts? Because it seemed like Derrick was landing these huge shots, and you're like, how is Tai withstanding this?
Yeah, you know, coming into this fight, and I said this previously, and I didn't want to make it sound like I was not giving Tai his due, but I just didn't really see how he was going to win this fight. Of course, we're in the heavyweight division. You can land a big shot. But Derrick Lewis, he doesn't really get hurt. I mean, we haven't seen that over the course of his career. I mean, if he's getting finished, it's over a lengthy battle in which someone has really kind of it's taken its toll on him. You don't see him get caught in these little exchanges, and that's what Tai does, man. Not anymore. I think you have to kind of change the way you're looking at Tai Tuivasa. He's fun and he's jumping up on the cage with the shoeies, but he's not just a banger. His skills are coming along. Now, is he ready to jump straight into title contention? Even though he just beat the number 3 guy, I don't think so. I think he's still finding his way there, but if he continues to improve and show different wrinkles to his game like he did tonight, I mean, he's going to be right there. This division is wide open, and Tai is a popular guy. He's got some big fights ahead of him.
Certainly added an interesting wrinkle there, but Derrick Lewis shooting takedowns?
Yeah.
What?
And he threw a flying knee at one point, too.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah. I mean, I think Derrick, he felt really bad about what happened in this building last year, you know, when he came out and he fought for the interim championship, and he kind of just didn't show up, and that's how he feels it. He should not hang his head about this one. I thought he had a great performance. He was winning that fight. I think he got a little over-anxious. I think he thought that he had Tai hurt a little bit more than he did, and then Tai clipped him, and that's the heavyweight division. That's fighting, but that's also that's fighting in the heavyweight division. You
100%.
Get reckless for just half a second. Tai caught him. Give credit to Tai, but this was not a bad performance by Derrick Lewis at all.
No, I agree. It'll be interesting to see who they are each matched up with next. But Brett, before I let you go, what's a fighter or a fight that stood out to you tonight that wasn't in this main or co-main event?
You know, I mean, Roxanne's retirement was fantastic, and everyone in the sport was looking forward to that. And even though she didn't win, you know, it was the fitting way, I think, for her to go out. It was the right kind of fight. It just felt right.
Big arena applauding her also,
yes,
which I thought was great. It wasn't just a small
and just the way the fight went with her showing heart and coming back in the third round, I thought that was great. But Bobby Green, man, I like watching Bobby Green. I like the energy that he brings. He's having fun, and he's winning fights. He's consistent. You know what you're getting with Bobby Green.
Yes.
I mean, he brings that just attitude and that flair and that confidence. He mesmerizes me lately. I mean, everything from his walkout to his interviews to then the fight itself. I'm a big Bobby Green fan. I'm looking forward to his next fight.
I totally agree. Also, such a fun guy to talk to in the lead up to fights. Our fighter meetings with Bobby Green are always entertaining, never a dull moment in those at all. Also, always very informative. So I would agree with you on that. Well, Brett, it's been a fun one. I can't believe that was already our second pay-per-view of the year.
I mean, they move quick.
What's happening?
And we'll be March 5th. It's coming right around the corner.
March 5th with the brothers turned foes between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. Of course, Brett and I will be there for you with ESPN MMA for all of your coverage. But until then, we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.